Hello students. In this video lecture, you will learn about the respiratory tract, also called the respiratory system. This is the passage that air goes through as we breathe in and out. The respiratory tract contains important parts like respiratory bronchioles, alveoli, trachea, bronchus, bronchioles, nose, pharynx, and larynx. The upper respiratory tract contains nose, pharynx, and larynx. Nose forms the air breathed and filter out bacteria and debris. Nasal breathing is important for best lung function. Pharynx is a passage that conducts air from the nose to the voice box. The pharynx also conducts food from the mouth to the esophagus, the tube that leads to the stomach. Larynx is the voice box located between the pharynx and the windpipe. Now, the lower respiratory tract contains trachea, is a windpipe. This is the airway connecting the larynx to the tubes leading to the lungs. Alveoli, million of tiny sacs in the lungs surrounded by tiny blood vessels called capillaries. This is where the exchange of oxygen and carbon dioxide takes place. These sacs looks like branches of grapes, and bronchi is a two tubes that lead from the trachea to the lungs. The bronchi divide into many smaller airways called bronchioles. Now, the upper respiratory tract infection include influenza. Influenza basically is a highly contagious infection of the upper respiratory tract. It is caused by a virus and spreads easily through coughing and sneezing. Influenza can lead to pneumonia and death and is responsible for epidemics that occurs almost every winter. Now, lower respiratory infection include emphysema. COPD is the internationally preferred term encompassing chronic bronchitis, emphysema, and some cases of bronchial asthma. Emphysema occurs when some of the air sacs deep in the lungs are damaged, often because of long term infection and irritation. When lung tissue is damaged, the airways collapse, trapping stale air and blocking intake of fresh air. The lungs try to take in more air and become overinflated and stretched out gradually, getting so big they completely fill the chest cavity. Many with a severe emphysema develops a barrel shaped and chest because of this. Emphysema basically is an anatomical defined condition characterized by abnormal and permanent enlargement of the air spaces distal to the terminal bronchioles. Now, the second one is chronic bronchitis. Chronic bronchitis is defined in terms of sputum production and just reflects mucus hypersecretion in the airways and is an inflammation of the bronchi. In chronic bronchitis, the airways become narrow, scared, and partly clogged with mucus, making it difficult to breathe. Third one is asthma. Asthma is defined as a chronic inflammatory disorders of the airways characterized by reversible airflow obstruction causing cough, wheeze, chest tightness, and shortness of breath. The severity of the narrowings varies over short period and is responsible and reversible either spontaneously or as a result of treatment. And the characteristics of asthma is number one, airflow narrowing. It is due to combination of muscle edema and viscid bronchial secretion. It is generally reversible spontaneously or with the treatment. Second is airway hyperreactivity. It is characterized by increased tendency for airways to narrowing response to triggers that have little or no effect in normal individuals. Third one is bronchial inflammation. Inflammation of bronchial walls by T lymphocytes, mast cells, eosinophils with associated plasma exudation, edema, smooth muscle hypertrophy, mucus plugging, and epithelial damage.